In this video, I want to talk about the Processing.js library. Khan Academy includes this library in order for you to do drawing. It's an open source library that gives you drawing functions in JavaScript. You have to have a canvas to draw on. You have to include that library to use JavaScript. Khan Academy has built those things into its site so that we can do drawing. So let's look at an example. We can draw an ellipse. And let me put it somewhere, I guess, at the coordinates of 100, 100. And we'll just make it a smaller ellipse and have the width be 50 and the height be 50. An ellipse with the width and height the same, that makes it a circle. And so you can see we've drawn a circle on the screen. Now, the canvas coordinates are a little bit different than what you typically expect as coordinates. In your math class, typically you look at the coordinates starting on the lower left here, and that it increases in the positive direction for the x-axis to the right, and that it increases in the positive direction in the y-axis going up. While in computer programming, that's flipped, and it is still increasing in the x direction positive to the right, but it actually increases positive in the y direction going down, just the opposite of what we expect in a math class. So if I increase the x-axis is the horizontal axis, so that should move that ellipse to the right. So if I go ahead and increase that, it moves it to the right. And we're used to the x-axis working that way. But the y-axis, that's the one that's flipped, and as you increase, it actually moves down. So the Khan Academy canvas goes from 0 to 400 in every direction. And the x is centered at that coordinate that you give it. So if we change this to be 0, 0, the center of the circle is at this upper coordinate position right here, 0, 0. And we can change width and the height to give us ellipses. So Khan Academy will teach you about these different functions. So here's some examples. You can draw lines and rectangles and arcs. Khan Academy will help you learn about these different functions, but the other thing that you want to do is to take advantage of the fact that Khan Academy has built-in help. So if you scroll down, you can click on Documentation, and you can see the different functions that you can use for drawing. You can make triangles, you can make Bezier curves, you can make quadrilaterals, you can put in images, and you can only put in predefined images that are in Khan Academy, but they have a bunch of images that you can use. So if you wanted to use one of these functions, you can just click on it, and that gives you detailed information on how to use it. So if you want to create an image, you have to call this getImage function to get access to the library, and then it gives you a scroll box so that you can pick some image that Khan Academy has already loaded and include that. So I could pick this robot and then place it somewhere on the screen, about in the middle at 200, 200, and give it a size. Oh, and it also has a feature where it tells you when you make a mistake, and this oh no's character comes up. And by the end of the class, most students hate oh no's, but it does help you identify your errors. It just sometimes oh's no's gets confused. So after we've looked up something on help, we can go ahead and add it in our own project. So I've added this character. I can slide it away from my ellipse if I want. You do want to be careful because your project is not automatically saved. If you want to keep your project, make sure you hit the Save button. And you can see as you're typing, Oh No's is figuring out if you're going to have some syntax issues. So Oh No's might come up and try to indicate where there's a problem. And so it says you're missing a parentheses. So I have an open here, and one close. Well, I'm missing more than just the parentheses. I have to give the X location and the Y location and a size for the image. I think those are optional, so I could leave those off. And then it can add that image. So be careful, Oh No's sometimes gets stuck. If he does get stuck, go ahead and save your project and then just do a refresh. And then Oh No's recalculates if there's an error and can resolve that. If you don't save it, you will lose all your work. It's not saving as you type in. Now, Processing.js is not a library that's specific to Khan Academy. It's a freely available drawing library, and you can reference it at GitHub, or you can also reference it locally. However, browsers are preventing these third-party libraries from being loaded on your machine sometimes. So depending upon what browser you're using, you might not be able to use the local. I'm just going to take off those 2 dashes there. That was just for commenting it out. So let's look at a demo of a Processing.js example that is outside of Khan Academy. So I have it loaded on your Canvas site, so you can just click on it. If you click on it, it will start downloading. Then you can choose to extract it. You can also, from the directory it downloaded into, choose, right-click on it and choose to extract all. It's a good idea to extract that into your working directory. Let's take a look at that in our Atom editor. So I'm going to open up Atom. And because I put that in my working directory and I already set up my directory to find files in my working directory, then I can find it right away. You can see that in our script, which means in our JavaScript, we're going to do some setup of a canvas, and then we can start putting in those Processing.js functions. Remember we used ellipse? And here's that reference that we're pulling in that Processing.js library from GitHub so that we can use those commands. Then we can open that HTML file up in the browser, and you can see we have a canvas with the drawing on it. So I wanted you to know that we can achieve the same results without using Khan Academy. Khan Academy just gives us a really simple, easy to use platform to do drawing, and that we can use that to learn JavaScript and make some fun applications. But this knowledge does apply outside of Khan Academy, and you can use Processing.js outside of Khan Academy.